My name is Cheryl, and I am a very late diagnosed autistic woman. I was diagnosed just before my 59th birthday. Today, I'd like to talk to you about something that I think is super important, and that is the relationship between autism and food. Please consider this a trigger warning. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. However, I have been autistic my whole life, even though I didn't know it, and I am the mom of 3 beautiful children, one of which was diagnosed with level 1 autism in middle school and is now an adult. So I can speak from experience here. I'd like to give you 6 reasons why autistic people have issues with food. Number 1, texture. One of the criteria for even being diagnosed as an autistic person is sensory sensitivities. And one of those sensitivities is texture. So when we eat food, texture can be a big determinant of what we eat and what we don't eat. Some of the things that I used to avoid like the plague were those little pears in fruit cocktail because they were so like sandpaper. They really grossed me out. Green beans because they had strings. Slimy stuff like cooked spinach, and things that had varying textures. For example, maybe one of those soft serve ice cream with hot fudge, but then nuts. So it's smooth, but then it's crunchy. That just, I don't know, it freaked me out, so I didn't eat it. Number 2, routine. Autistics are known for really liking routines. I'm sorry I'm stuttering, but I'm just going to do this without editing. We like sameness. We don't like surprises. So when we find something we like, we will eat it day after day after day, sometimes for weeks or even months. For me, that's yogurt with some fruit and homemade granola. When my son was young, he ate peanut butter and jelly every day, I do not lie, for 2 years straight. I was trying to be a good mom. I wanted him to have a balanced meal, and I would get so frustrated when he wouldn't try new things. He was very, very shut down. And now I realize that's because I was getting frustrated and he would come to the table already stressed out. So I talked to my pediatrician and he said, he's eating things that have nutritional value. So try not to stress out too much. Try and chill out. And that's what I did. And when my son realized that I wasn't going to be freaking out when we ate dinner or lunch, he calmed down, and eventually, when he was ready, he did branch out, and now he eats just about everything. So that would be my advice, mom to mom. Try not to stress out if your child gets stuck on one thing, because when they're ready, they will branch out. Number 3, autistic people are very analytical. While some people might just get a plate of food and start eating it, we look at it and we analyze it. Where did it come from? What was the process between where it came from and how it ended up on my plate? My daughter at the age of 3 looked at me one day when we were sitting down to dinner and eating chicken nuggets, and she looked right in my eyes and said, "Mommy, is this a dead chicken?" Well, I knew she already knew, so I couldn't lie. I said, "Yeah, it is." So she was satisfied, and she went ahead and ate the rest of her dinner. For me, in middle school, it was milk. I was thinking about milk one day. I knew it came from cows. I pictured people milking cows. I had seen it in books and whatever, and it just grossed me out. And right then and there, I just said, ugh, no more milk. What about you? What do you think of milk? Are there any foods that you have just had to say no to because they were just too gross? Number 4, interoception. A lot of autistics experience something called interoception, and what that means is we don't get hunger pangs. So we can go all day if we're focused on something. We just keep going and going and going. And it isn't until we start feeling dizzy or faint or lightheaded when we think, I probably should eat something. Now, couple that with ADHD, we're on the way to the refrigerator, we get distracted, and we forget to eat. By the end of the day, we're like, oh, I haven't eaten anything all day. How many times have you said that? It's a thing. Number 5, immune issues and allergies. So many autistic people have issues with their immune system. And when your immune system is off, it's wonky all the way around. That can mean an overactive immune system, which is autoimmune, or an underactive immune system, which is being immune compromised, or a combination of both. And many times it includes allergies, including food allergies. When we eat foods that we're allergic to, we can get a stomach ache, a rash, a headache. So naturally, we're going to avoid those. Lastly, number 6, and this is the most concerning, But you can fact check me, let me know if I'm wrong. From what I've found, around 70% of people with autism have experienced or are experiencing complex trauma. Now, what that means to me personally is that there were times in my life when I was young and otherwise, and you probably have experienced this as well, where we have little control over what's going on around us. So when I was young, I couldn't control what was going on in my home. I had anxiety. I had no control over that. I needed emotional connection and validation from my mother, but I didn't get that because she was a narcissist. My dad was sweet, but he was gone all the time. And around middle school age, I was trying to fit in with my peers. So I was trying to mirror them. I looked at magazines. I saw people and they were thin. So I tried to accomplish that so I would fit in. So this is a perfect storm for a full-blown eating disorder. You know, when I couldn't control anything else around me, I could control what I put in my mouth or didn't. I figured if I got skinny enough, my mom would pay attention and she would give me attention. Also, I thought I would blend in with my peers, but that backfired on me because people used to look at me and say, "Oh, you're so skinny, you make me sick," or "I hate you, you're so thin." That didn't make me feel too good. And I think there was a little rebellion in there too. But I have to note, at this time, I did not have any self-esteem or self-worth. I really didn't love myself at all. Now, I'm happy to say that has changed. I've done a lot of work and I do know my value now. And I intentionally put good food in my body. And so from autistic woman to autistic man or woman, I would just say value yourself. Do you know that when you put healthy food in your body, you're telling yourself that you are worth putting good food into your body? It does something for your psyche. So try and be intentional about that because that'll still give you that feeling of control. Maybe set a timer so you remember to eat. And of course, every once in a while, splurge. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a little fun once in a while. And I think when I splurge, gosh, my favorite thing is probably cupcakes. Yeah, chocolate with vanilla icing. So let me know what your favorite splurge is. I'm really curious to know. If you got some value out of this video, please consider subscribing. Also, I just want to say thank you so much for your comments and your follows. It's just very humbling to me. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day.